In the shadowed halls of Tudor England, one queen's reign was marked by fire, fear, and ruthless determination. Known to history as Bloody Mary, Mary Tudor sought to restore Catholicism through a brutal campaign of persecution that ignited religious vengeance and left deep scars on the nation. Her passionate quest to undo her father's Protestant legacy led to hundreds of executions by burning, creating a reign of terror that shaped England's religious future. Join us as we uncover the dramatic life of Mary Tudor, a monarch whose unyielding faith and personal tragedy forever altered the course of British history. Watch this video till the end, like and subscribe to explore the fiery reign of Bloody Mary Tudor. Early life and ascension of Henry VIII. Henry VIII was born on June 28, 1491, at the Palace of Placentia in Greenwich, England, the second son of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. Initially not expected to inherit the throne, Henry's destiny changed dramatically with the death of his elder brother, Arthur, in 1502, positioning him as the heir to the Tudor dynasty. From an early age, Henry was well educated, studying classical languages, theology, music, and martial arts. Known for his charismatic and vibrant personality, Henry was also a skilled athlete, a musician, and a patron of the arts, embodying many qualities of the Renaissance prince. Following the death of Henry VII in April 1509, Henry VIII ascended the throne at the age of 17. His coronation on June 24, 1509, at Westminster Abbey was a grand display of Tudor power and pageantry, symbolizing the beginning of a new era for England. At the outset of his reign, Henry VIII enjoyed widespread popularity and was viewed as a promising monarch. His early efforts focused on military success and displaying England's strength in European affairs, initiating wars in France and Scotland. However, beneath the surface of glory and youthful ambition lurked personal and political challenges that would come to define his reign. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon, his brother's widow, initially a symbol of alliance with Spain, soon became central to Henry's quest for a male heir, sparking controversies that would lead to monumental religious and constitutional shifts. The Six Wives of Henry VIII, a chronological journey with fate and intrigue. Henry VIII is one of England's most notorious monarchs, largely remembered not just for his political and religious reforms, but for his 6 marriages. These unions, marked by passion, politics, power struggles, and tragedy, shaped Tudor England and left an indelible mark in history. Despite a reign of nearly 39 years, Henry's first marriage lasted nearly 24 years, while his subsequent 5 wives were all married to him within a combined decade. Catherine of Aragon married 1509 to 1533. Henry's first wife and daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain. Their marriage lasted almost 24 years and produced Queen Mary I. The union ended after Henry sought annulment due to her failure to produce a surviving male heir. Anne Boleyn married 1533 to 1536. Anne's marriage to Henry triggered England's break from the Catholic Church. She was executed after being accused of treason and adultery, but her daughter, Elizabeth I, would eventually become one of England's greatest monarchs. Jane Seymour married 1536 to 1537. Jane gave birth to Henry's only male heir, Edward VI, but died soon after childbirth. Henry is said to have regarded her as his true wife. Anne of Cleves married July 1540. This politically arranged marriage was annulled because Henry found an unattractive. Despite the annulment, Anne was treated kindly and remained in England. Catherine Howard married 1542, a cousin of Anne Boleyn. Catherine was executed for adultery after a brief and turbulent marriage. Catherine Parr married 1543 to 1547. Henry's final wife was a stabilizing influence who cared for the ailing king and helped reconcile him with his daughters. She outlived Henry and remarried shortly after his death. The English Reformation, religion, power, and the birth of a new church. The English Reformation was not merely a religious upheaval. It was a profound political upheaval that reshaped England's monarchy and society. Initiated under Henry VIII's reign, it was born from his personal and political struggles, which echoed through the Tudor dynasty and beyond. At the heart of the Reformation was Henry's desperation for a male heir to secure the Tudor dynasty's future. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, bore him a daughter, Mary, but no surviving son. His desire to annul his marriage to Catherine to wed Anne, who promised a male heir, triggered a break with the Roman Catholic Church. Mary Tudor's bold ascension to the throne and the consolidation of power. Mary Tudor faced a contested claim to the English throne after the death of her Protestant half-brother Edward VI in 1553, despite attempts by powerful factions to deny her rightful succession. By placing Lady Jane Grey, Protestant cousin, on to throne, Mary asserted her legitimacy as the daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Mary's swift action following Edward's death was marked by remarkable political acumen and popular support. She fled to Framlingham Castle, where she rallied her supporters, including influential nobles and members of the local gentry who opposed Northumberland's attempt to enforce Jane Grey's reign, in what historians often hail as the only successful coup d'état in the 16th century England. Mary demonstrated both determination and widespread public acclaim. On July 19, 1553, Mary was proclaimed Queen, leading to the eventual surrender and arrest of Northumberland. Her triumphant entry into London on August 3rd was celebrated by many, symbolizing a return to legitimate Tudor rule. Parliament supported her claim, approving her coronation, which took place on October 1, 1553, at Westminster Abbey. As the first Queen Regnant of England and Ireland, Mary carried the heavy burden of not only asserting her rule but also reversing the religious upheavals of her predecessors. She moved quickly to restore Catholicism as the state religion, reinstating papal supremacy and repealing Protestant laws. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain, an alliance designed to strengthen Catholic influence, fueled both support and opposition, leading to unrest and rebellion. Mary's reign, although relatively brief, was characterized by passionate efforts to reclaim her faith and the throne's authority, embedding her legacy deeply into England's turbulent religious history. The Reign of Fire and Faith, the Marian persecutions, and Bloody Mary. Mary Tudor's reign 1553 to 1558 was dominated by her zealous effort to restore Catholicism in England, reversing the Protestant reforms of her father Henry VIII and brother Edward VI. Her religious vengeance culminated in the infamous Marian persecutions, a brutal campaign that sought to stamp out Protestantism through trials and executions. During this brief but intense period, over 280 Protestants were executed, most by burning at the stake, including prominent figures such as Archbishop Thomas Cromwell. These executions were formalized through heresy tribunals that employed methods to pursue religious orthodoxy. Mary's campaign earned her the enduring nickname, Bloody Mary. While her policies were part of a broader European pattern of religious intolerance, the severity and scale of England's persecution under her reign left a dark stain on her legacy and fueled lasting animosity. The victims were regarded by Protestants as martyrs, solidifying the divide in English religious life. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain was meant to strengthen Catholic influence, but alienated many English subjects who feared foreign domination, leading to uprisings such as the Wyatt Rebellion. Mary's harsh suppression of dissent, combined with political unrest and personal health struggles, marked a reign filled with fire and fear. Despite her efforts, Mary died childless in 1558 from influenza, and her half-sister Elizabeth I's accession reversed her Catholic restoration, ushering in a Protestant settlement that would shape England's future for centuries. Mary Tudor's personal life. marriage to Philip II, and decline. Mary Tudor's personal life was marked by deep struggles, loss, and loneliness amidst her fiery reign. Despite her political fervor, her private desires and challenges cast a poignant shadow over her time as queen. Mary married Philip II, King of Spain, in 1550 for a politically motivated alliance intended to strengthen Catholic power in England and Europe. Their union, celebrated with great ceremony at Winchester Cathedral on July 25, 1554, was met with mixed public reaction. While Mary reportedly fell deeply in love with Philip, the marriage was short-lived and fraught with difficulties. Philip's obligations as King of Spain drew him frequently away from England, leaving Mary isolated during critical periods. The couple had no children, a significant blow to Mary, who was desperate for a Catholic heir to secure her religious and dynastic legacy. Historical records suggest Mary experienced phantom pregnancies, which may have been both physically and emotionally harrowing. Mary's health deteriorated throughout her reign, affected by depression and physical ailments. The political and religious strife, combined with personal disappointments, contributed to her retreat into intense religious devotion. She passed away on November 17, 1558, aged 42, at St. James's Palace in London. Mary's death marked the end of her controversial reign. Her half-sister Elizabeth I ascended the throne, reinstating Protestantism. Philip's claim to the English crown ended with Mary's death. Despite the fierce and tumultuous nature of her reign, Mary's genuine devotion to her faith and kingdom reflect a complex woman caught between personal pain and political conviction. Legacy of Mary Tudor. The enigma of Bloody Mary. Mary Tudor's legacy is as deeply contested as her reign was tumultuous. Known indelibly as Bloody Mary, she is remembered mainly for the persecution and execution of Protestants while trying to restore Catholicism in England. Between 1555 and 1558, nearly 280 people, including clergy, nobility, and commoners, were burned at the stake for heresy under her revived 14th-century heresy laws. The executions were carried out with grim determination, including well-known figures like Archbishop Thomas Cranmer, who symbolized the Protestant Reformation. Despite public proclamations that she would not force conversions, Mary's reign grew increasingly fervent in enforcing religious conformity with dire consequences for dissent. However, historians also consider that Mary was a product of her time, echoing religious intolerance common throughout Europe and at other monarchs, including her father Henry VIII and sister Elizabeth I, sanctioned executions in the name of religious loyalty. Mary's contested claim to the throne, illegitimacy, and personal tragedies, such as phantom pregnancies, alongside political failures like losing Calais to France, further darkened her public perception. Yet, she also laid groundwork in finance and naval strength, impacting England's later growth. Culturally and historically, Mary's image as the monarch of fire and faith endures, both vilified and revered as a powerful woman shaped by conviction and trauma, who decisively impacted England's religious and political landscape. The wider legacy and cultural impact of Mary Tudor. Mary Tudor's reign left a lasting mark on England and the monarchy's development. Beyond the religious persecution for which she is notorious, her legacy embraces broader cultural and historical dimensions. Mary was the first queen to formally rule England, setting a precedent for female sovereignty. Her assertion of the crown's authority bolstered the Tudor dynasty during a time of great religious and political upheaval. Her campaign to restore Catholicism reflected the deep religious divides within England and Europe. The Marian persecutions symbolized not only a religious conflict, but also a struggle for political stability and identity. The cruelty of the burnings later galvanized Protestant resistance, influencing the Elizabethan settlement under her successor. Mary's marriage alliance with Philip II linked England with Spain's vast empire, projecting Britain's role in European politics. Despite domestic resistance, though childless, her reign influenced English legal frameworks concerning monarchy, parliament, and religion. Culturally, Mary's image as Bloody Mary evolved into a symbol of religious fanaticism and female rulership as challenges, permeating literature, folklore, and popular memory. She suffered from a mysterious illness, historically debated but most likely ovarian or uterine cancer. The historical interpretation of Bloody Mary. Mary Tudor's controversial reign has sparked centuries of debate among historians and scholars. She has been etched in history primarily as Bloody Mary, a monarch defined by religious persecution and brutal repression. However, recent historiography peels back layers of propaganda and gender bias, revealing a more nuanced figure. The infamous Marian persecutions, which involved the burning of nearly 300 Protestants for heresy, were a part of broader European religious conflicts of the time. Mary's actions, while severe, were not unique. Several of her predecessors and successors also sanctioned executions tied to religious loyalty. Mary acted out of a conviction that religious unity was essential to political stability and social order, fueled by her deeply held Catholic faith. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain reaffirmed her commitment to Catholic Europe. Though English nationalism and resistance to foreign influence complicated her reign, many modern historians challenge the image of Mary as merely a bloodthirsty tyrant, suggesting she was a monarch who faced impossible circumstances contesting her legitimacy. Managing religious fractures and confronting foreign threats, her reputation was further tarnished by Protestant accounts, especially the writings of John Fox's Book of Martyrs, which fostered a lasting anti-Catholic sentiment. Mary's reign is a stark illustration of the dangers when faith and power intertwine, and her legacy a cautionary tale on the use of absolutist authority, justified by religious zeal. Mary Tudor's legacy and influence on the British monarchy. Mary Tudor, the first Queen Regnant of England, stands out as a pivotal figure in British history, her reign leaving an indelible and complex legacy. Known chiefly as Bloody Mary for her rigorous enforcement of Catholic doctrine and persecution of Protestants, her historical reputation has been subject to fierce debate and re-evaluation. Mary's reassertion of papal authority and the revival of harsh heresy laws set her apart as a monarch willing to use absolute power for religious conformity. Over 280 individuals were executed by burning, including notable figures such as Archbishop Thomas Cromwell. These actions fueled Protestant martyrdom narratives and entrenched religious divisions that shaped England's turbulent path through the Reformation and beyond. Yet, Mary's reign also established constitutional precedents. The 1554 Act for Regal Power codified that a reigning queen held sovereign authority equivalent to a king, laying an important foundation for future female rulers. Including Elizabeth I, Mary's struggles with legitimacy, her failure to produce an heir, and the loss of Calais to France tempered her successes, casting a shadow over her reign. Still, her efforts to restore Catholic England, her political resilience, and her role as a female ruler breaking gender norms continue to inspire historical reflection. Her reign stands as a cautionary tale of the dangers of religious extremism and absolutism, balanced by recognition of her place as a determined monarch confronting immense challenges. Succession and the rise of Elizabeth I, Mary Tudor's reign was underscored by profound concerns over succession. Given her inability to produce an heir, the weight of securing the Tudor dynasty's future bore heavily upon her final years. After ascending the throne by deposing Lady Jane Grey in 1553, Mary faced political tension not just from religious factions, but from within her own family. Her half-sister, Elizabeth, a Protestant, was next in line according to the Third Succession Act. But Mary's devout Catholicism made her deeply suspicious of Elizabeth's intentions. Mary's marriage to Philip II of Spain was intended to solidify her Catholic reign, but it also stirred fears of Spanish domination. The couple's failure to have children, exacerbated by Mary's possible phantom pregnancies, added to the uncertainty regarding the succession. In letters to Mary, Philip expressed his unwavering loyalty but also practical concerns about the continuity of the throne. A presumed excerpt from Philip might read, "Dearest Mary, though the heavens have yet to bless us with an heir, our bond and our faith bind us in this solemn duty to England's future. Whatever challenges arise, let us face them with courage and resolve, safeguarding the crown and the eternal legacy of our house." Upon Mary's death in 1558, Elizabeth I ascended the throne, swiftly reversing Mary's Catholic restorations and cementing Protestantism in England. Elizabeth's reign would usher in a new era, but the struggles over succession during Mary's tumultuous reign shaped the Tudor legacy and England's religious trajectory for generations. Cultural depictions and the enduring myth of Bloody Mary. The persona of Mary Tudor has transcended historical texts to become a powerful cultural symbol in history, literature, folklore, and popular media. While her reign was undoubtedly marked by religious persecution, the characterization of Mary as Bloody Mary often reflects more than just historical fact. It is colored by propaganda, sexism, and shifting cultural narratives. The early Protestant accounts, especially John Fox's Book of Martyrs, played a significant role in crafting Mary's enduring legacy as a ruthless oppressor. This narrative served to reinforce Protestant identity amid the religious conflicts of Elizabethan England and beyond. Mary has appeared in multiple cultural forms, from the spectral Bloody Mary of urban legends to depictions in films and television, portraying her as a tragic yet fearsome figure. This separation between the historical woman and cultural myth illustrates how collective memory reshapes events to fit broader narratives of religion, gender, and power. Modern historians strive for a more balanced view, recognizing Mary's profound challenges as a female sovereign in a patriarchal society in the brutal context of the 16th century religious upheaval. Her legacy is a cautionary tale about power, faith, and the role of women in history. Conclusion: the enduring legacy of Mary Tudor and her impact on the British monarchy. Mary Tudor, England's first queen regnant, remains one of the most debated and fascinating figures in British history. Her dramatic reign, lasting just 5 years from 1553 to 1558, fundamentally altered the trajectory of the English monarchy, reshaping religious identity, challenging gender norms, and establishing legal precedents for female sovereignty. Mary's fierce devotion to Catholicism led to the burning of nearly 300 Protestants, earning her the enduring epithet Bloody Mary. Yet this nickname, while historically rooted, often overshadows her achievements and the complexities of her reign. She demonstrated remarkable political acumen in claiming her throne against formidable opposition, established her authority as a sovereign queen, and pursued policies she believed essential for England's stability and spiritual salvation. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain attempted to cement Catholic Europe's influence over England, though it ultimately failed to produce the heir upon which her hopes rested. Her phantom pregnancies and childlessness remain poignant reminders of how personal tragedy intertwined with political failure, leaving her isolated and despairing in her final years. The 1554 Act for Regal Power, a constitutional achievement born from Mary's reign, affirmed that a queen possessed sovereign authority, equal to any king, precedent that strengthened Elizabeth I's later claim and established an important principle for female rulers. This legal framework proved transformative for the monarchy and influenced how succeeding generations understood gender and governance. Mary's reign illuminated the dangers of absolutism justified by religious zeal, yet it also revealed the vulnerability and humanity of those wielding absolute power. Her story became a cautionary tale, one warning against the convergence of faith and authority, while simultaneously celebrating her as a woman who dared rule in an era that fundamentally questioned female capability. In modern times, historians continue to reassess Mary, moving beyond the Bloody Mary caricature to recognize a complex figure constrained by the brutal realities of 16th century religious conflict, patriarchal expectations, and the immense burden of monarchy. She remains a powerful symbol of how history is written and rewritten by those in power, and how myth can obscure the multifaceted reality of human experience. The British monarchy today bears the imprint of Mary's reign, not in religious doctrine. Elizabeth reversed that, but in the precedent she established and the questions she raised about women, power, faith, and the limits of sovereignty. Her legacy extends beyond palace walls, resonating in discussions about female leadership, religious tolerance, and the ethics of power.